Hey, what's up guys? I'm Cam from Contain Salt, and as you can see from the video title, this is about my top 5 favorite games of all time. Now, the reason I'm doing this is I know that you guys have seen our podcast and our new show, Two Nerds Talk, and all the other bullshit that we record for you guys. But I feel like you guys don't really know us personally as people, or I guess as gamers. So the best way, at least in my mind, for you to get a peek into that is by letting you guys know what our favorite games of all time are. So I guess without further delay, we will get right into it. Alright, so coming in at number 5 on my list is a game that I think flew under a lot of radars because it is in North America as of recording right now, a PlayStation Vita exclusive, so it's a game that not a lot of people had access to, but it's a game that I really, really love. So that is Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Now, Danganronpa is a visual novel about 16 high school students who are chosen for their special abilities to attend a super special private school, and when they get there, they discover that they have been trapped by a maniacal bear named Monokuma, and they are forced to try to escape by killing each other and getting away with the murder. So it's sort of, it's a visual novel mixed with pieces of a Phoenix Wright game, where you go through trials to try to figure out who killed who, etc., etc. It does sound kind of weird, it is very Japanese, but I don't think that my short description does it very much justice. It has really, really excellent writing, it's twisted and funny and heart-wrenching all at the same time, so it's definitely a game that I really recommend to just about anyone who can get their hands on it. And like I said earlier, it is, as of right now, a PlayStation Vita exclusive, but later in March of 2017, both Danganronpa and its sequel, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, will be coming to PlayStation 4 for, I believe, $40 retail. So it's definitely worth picking up if you have the chance to play it. Coming in at number 4 is a game on the PlayStation 2 that I spent a lot of my time, and I still do, playing. It's just one of the most fun games that I've ever had the joy to play, and that is Devil May Cry 3. Which is a game described by its developers as a stylish hack and slash, and I think that is a rather apt description of it. You play as Dante, a demon hunter, and you do basically that. You run through levels fighting demons and really, really awesome bosses at the end of each level. It is extremely fun to play. Chaining together combos with all of your different weapons and firearms is some of the most satisfying gameplay that I've ever played to date. And I think it still holds up as the best Devil May Cry game in the series. So I definitely think you guys should check it out if you like fun hack and slashes and really, really hilarious dialogue as well, which is super, super cheesy, but I absolutely love that about it. So you can pick it up on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. They put out an HD collection of the first 3 games, all of which are worth playing, and by that I mean 1 and 3. 2 is a pile of shit. But you can pick it up on Xbox 360 and PS3, and I definitely recommend that you do that. Sitting at the number 3 slot on my list is a more contemporary game. It's come out in the last decade, and it is, again, a game that I've played for hundreds and hundreds of hours. I've beat the game 20 plus times at this point, and I'm sure to do that more in the future. And that game is Dark Souls, which I'm sure many of you have heard about because of its difficulty. So Dark Souls is a brutally hard action RPG set in a fantasy setting, where you go through meticulously crafted levels, fighting all sorts of different enemies, from knights to zombies to bizarre creatures that you've never seen before, and fighting huge, terrifying bosses. As I'm sure everybody's heard, it is very, very hard. It's one of the most difficult games that I've ever played, and the learning curve is immensely steep, but it is by far the most rewarding game that I've ever played. When you beat that boss that you've spent hours and hours trying to beat, and you finally kill it, it is the most satisfying thing in any video game ever, and I really recommend that you guys play it. It is a hard game, but once you learn how to play it, it's not nearly as hard as people think it is. I definitely recommend you give it a shot. The first time I played the game, I absolutely fucking hated it. I got it at launch and played it for a few hours and thought it was the worst piece of garbage. Put it down, didn't play it for a year, and then a buddy of mine suggested that I give it another shot, and I completely fell in love. So Dark Souls is definitely a game that I recommend. Does have a very steep learning curve. Maybe not for everybody, but is certainly one of my favorite games I've ever played. So you can pick that up on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and it is also backwards compatible on Xbox One. Sitting at the number 2 slot on my list is a game that I'm sure, like Danganronpa, not a whole lot of you guys have played, unless you're an old school Capcom fan like myself. So this is my favorite Resident Evil game, and that is Dino Crisis on PlayStation 1. So Dino Crisis is a game that was developed alongside Resident Evil 3. They both came out around the same time. They even had demo discs of each other packed in. So it is very much a survival horror game, and it plays a lot like a Resident Evil game. Very, very classic survival horror in the way that you expect it to be. But where it differs is in its setting and its characters, and of course, its enemies, which instead of fighting zombies, you are fighting dinosaurs, which is a really, really awesome change of pace for the series. I find them vastly more terrifying than zombies just because they move so much faster and they're so much more unpredictable. I think the map layout is really, really awesome, and the scenarios are immensely fun. So if you like old school survival horror games, I definitely recommend you give Dino Crisis a shot. It's definitely underrated compared to, everybody always talks about Resident Evil 2, which is a fantastic game, but I don't think Dino Crisis gets enough love, and I absolutely love it to death. So you can only play this on PlayStation 1 or as a PS1 Classic on PlayStation 3, or maybe PlayStation Now on PS4. But unfortunately, there has not been any HDs or a fucking reboot, Capcom. I don't know what you're doing, but definitely if you have the chance, you should check it out. It's an awesome game. And finally, coming in at the number 1 slot, and I will tell you guys, if you asked me this question, what are your top 5 favorite games any given day, I would probably give you a different list, or these would be moved around. But my number 1 never changes. This is by far my all-time favorite game. And that is Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2. Kingdom Hearts has a very special place in my heart. It was the second game that I ever played on my PS2. I played that really awful Crash game, I forget what it's called, that came out at PS2's launch for a couple hours, and I got bored with it, and my parents had gotten me this second game that I'd never heard of called Kingdom Hearts, and I popped it in and just had one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So Kingdom Hearts is more or less, it's a Final Fantasy game crossed with Disney characters, which is not something that at first glance sounds like it would work as well as it does, but it is just absolutely one of the most fun and enjoyable experiences I have ever had. So it plays like an action RPG, very Final Fantasy in the way that it plays, and your magic, and all those things that you come to love from Square Enix games, but all of the levels are classic Disney worlds, and characters like Donald Duck and Goofy are strewn about, and it's a really, really cool juxtaposition that I think works really well. So it's super fun to play, and obviously it's cool seeing all these Disney characters that we all know and love. But on top of that, there is a deep Final Fantasy-esque story that you can follow that is just really emotionally impactful, at least to me, as you play through the game. So I really couldn't recommend it enough. And the reason I chose Kingdom Hearts 2 is just it's the embodiment of a perfect sequel. Everything about it is improved upon from Kingdom Hearts 1. So I definitely suggest that you play both games. I wouldn't skip out on one just because 2 plays better, but 2 is definitely my favorite. I 100% recommend that you play them if you get the chance. They are available on PlayStation 3 as HD collections as of recording this, but next month in March 2017 they will be both coming out on PlayStation 4 bundled together, and I believe it's like retail $40 or something like that. So definitely check those out if you get a chance. They're fucking amazing games. I can't recommend them enough. Whether you're an RPG fan or not, I think they're just completely approachable to everybody, and I can't recommend it enough. I know I've said that a lot. So that just about wraps it up for my top 5 list of my favorite games of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And of course, I would love to hear your top 5 games down in the comments below. I would love to read through those. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that like button. I would really appreciate that. And of course, if you want more content like this, as well as our podcast and Two Nerds Talk, and a whole lot of shit that we have planned in the future for you guys, smash that fucking subscribe button, as the kids say. And we would really, really appreciate your support in that regard. So I guess that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys later.